Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast presented by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we're covering episode 6, The Princess and the Queen. I am joined today by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. What a way to kick the new era of House of the Dragon off. We've entered the latter half of the season, and we've got the recasts. We got Emma Darcy in there as Rhaenyra, Olivia Cook in there as Alicent Hightower, and so many other new castings. John McMillan as Laenor. We got a few. I mean, we still got a few familiar faces. Fabian Frankel, still Sir Criston. Matt Smith, still Daemon Targaryen. But Paddy Considine, still Viserys, even though he looks... Wow, he looks...
Again, man. We thought he was dead 3 episodes ago. Still not dead.
I was ready for him to die during the hunt. You know,
Season
like
finale. That's his death.
That's his death. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's living the whole season now. Like,
now, like, I thought for sure it was this week. So, like, now I'm like, shit, man.
I think they just know. Well, I don't know. They, like, in Game of Thrones, sort of, we just expect people to die because everyone dies. Like we never expected Ned to die at the end of season 1. So, like, after that point, it's like, oh, okay, anyone can die at any time, and it's like, we're expecting it almost. And they know that. Like, it's like they're playing with us in so many different ways with this show. But, I don't know, this episode was kind of cool. It was like a whole nother premiere, almost, like, with all the new characters. And
Right. It was kind of like a subtle reset, you know? Like, like whenever, after this opening scene where Rhaenyra is giving birth, and this is one thing they've never this season have not shied away from the horrors of is childbirth, and you really get some great sound design.
Ooh,
in that that opening scene.
Ooh,
yeah, a lot of squelching, a lot of squishing, and I was like, hey, they're being pretty plain, they're being pretty bare honest about this, and it really did give Emma Darcy a chance to come in here and absolutely body this. Their performance as Rhaenyra was like, I already was like on board, you know. I didn't think the transition between Millie Alcock to Emma Darcy would be one that I was like, oh, jarring, I can't do it, you know. Like, I've been prepared for this since week 1. It's been something they've been very clear is going to happen. So, like, and it felt natural, you know. It really did feel like the same exact character was being continued. It much matured, much 10 years older, you know.
I mean, it's insane how, like, the opening shot, they looked exactly like Emma, like her mother. Like, it was. Oh my
god!
It was.
That's one thing. I think that was a driving force behind the casting of Emma Darcy, is how much them as Rhaenyra looks exactly like Emma Aaron. Like, it was
both named Emma. Real life. Yeah. I'm talking Emma as in
Emma Aaron, the former queen.
Yes,
the belated. But yeah, it's crazy, especially like sweating her ass off, giving birth and stuff. It like looked exactly like Emma. It was insane.
All the like every person that grew up looked like it. You just kind of accepted it. Like, I knew it was coming, but it's like these people legitimately look like they would. Like I don't know. Like
It's
I knew
pretty
it was coming.
nuts.
I just kind of accepted it. Yeah, I'm just like,
Well,
wow.
and
Like I
I
had
know we're
no
talking about
problem with
how
this.
good the casting is in relation to Emma Darcy looking kind of like Emma Aaron. Uh, how about the fact that Aegon looks exactly like Viserys's blood? Like, it's nuts how much that kid looks like Viserys.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I don't like if I guess maybe that was just they knew coming into the show that like this switch was happening. So I mean, they were very smart about their casting and they knew all these things would happen. But like, it's I don't know if they're just make it like if it's just legitimately the way these people look that make them look related, or if they're doing something with like makeup or I don't know. But
I'm sure there's something, like, I'm sure
dang,
there's a little bit of makeup at play that helps and contributes to that sort of thing, but it's obviously not all that. They have to, at their bones, look a little like that person, and it's it was fucking great. But are you ready for a scene by scene here?
mm, let's do it.
Let's do it. So we start in the birthing bed, the battlefield, if you will, with Rhaenyra giving birth, and the exact spot where we have long feared her to be, and she has long feared her to be throughout this series. And
Mm,
yeah, her son is born. There's the head. We're good. Like
there it
she's gonna be
is.
just fine. And Rhaenyra looks really happy and tired, sweaty, and it was like really, really sweet though. Because I wasn't like ever looking for Rhaenyra to be a mom. I knew she would be because of everything the show promotes so transparently. Um,
Mm,
but like to see her like be all smiles when the baby's handed to her, and like very, very relieved and happy that the baby's born, everything's good, he's healthy. Like it was just really sweet. It was a really sweet half a
mm.
moment, because very quickly one of the queen's chambermaids comes on in and is like, "Hey, the queen wants the baby brought to her." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Mm.
So I'd
She
like
knows
to
exactly
officially
what she's doing.
recant everything from last week. It's fuck Alicent for life.
Dude, I was trying. I was trying to be like,
I was
okay,
trying
I'm
to.
not gonna hate her immediately. Like she's already starting out bad. As this episode went on, it was like, holy shit, she is a like villain. Like she's becoming a villain here.
Yeah,
And
like
it
she's
let
not all the way there. Like I
no.
think, like I do really think that she just feels like she's been stepped on this whole time, so she's ready to do the fucking stepping, she's like, fuck it, fine,
Mm,
I'll get this shit rolling. That doesn't change the fact that as this series goes on, I'm probably gonna keep hating her.
yeah.
What really blows too is like I do really, really like Rhaenyra, um but I still don't root for her,
Yeah, no. I'm not on side like Rhaenyra or side Allison. Right. I'm
Yeah,
not on either of their sides. They like Alicent, I guess she's doing it out of the protection of her own children, but in doing so, it's making her selfish and wanting her kids on the throne and wanting, her lust for power and everything
right.
that follows with that. I mean, she is the queen and, I don't know. Like it's not out of the worst intentions, but man, the way she's going about it is just
It's hard. It's
like,
hard.
yeah.
Hard to get behind. But yeah, so she summons the baby to be brought to her. And Rhaenyra's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna give her the satisfaction here. I'm gonna go ahead, get up, get dressed, help me out here, wait, let me get this afterbirth up out of me.
Had no
Um
idea that was a thing until
oh
this
yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You
The
learn.
placenta.
Yeah, they. I don't know.
Well,
I
that's the
love.
thing. They're being like really plain about childbirth throughout. I mean, even later in this episode where someone would rather die.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the most heartbreaking scene of the show so far. That shit, I like. I cried. We don't even know Lena for real, and I cried my ass off. You know, like that was hard to watch.
I was screaming at my TV at that moment. Like there were many times like in this episode that got me to out loud say something.
No.
Or yeah.
You're like Walter White in the back of the car. No, Lena, don't. No.
But like at the beginning, like whenever Allison is requesting the baby, immediately, like I'm like, oh, okay, she knows exactly what she's doing. Like she's just, I'm already like, wow, I see why people have hated her. Like I have seen it becoming.
It truly has been because of who she becomes.
It wasn't blind hate. Yeah, it wasn't blind. I mean,
it was irrational. It was irrational for the time because Allison was not a hateable character until this episode for me.
But like, did the mass public know that she would become like this? Like, how were people so already in the boat of hating her?
I think the people that are really active, like at least from what I can tell on House of the Dragon, like social media and stuff, is that they have either read Fire and Blood or have heavily researched it so as to, because I've figured out over the course of the last, I don't know, couple years, there are a lot of people who do not give a fuck if they get shit spoiled for them. Some people prefer to know what's happening and just watch it, like I'm certain there were people who didn't read Fire and Blood who went like, what? Like after they watched the first episode, was like, oh shit, let me see what's gonna fucking happen here. Like
oh, this is based on a book that's already out. Let me just
go ahead and find out where this goes.
I guess true.
Man, yeah. So like I think that there's just a lot. It's also like heavily adapted. Like I said, and we've said multiple times, Fire and Blood, a book neither of us have read, is like a history book. It's just giving you a list of events. It's not dramatizing it. It's not giving it storylines. It just is, So like,
I guess you're not really missing out on what the show is giving you. You might know what's coming, but the show is still good regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, whenever Rhaenyra pulls on out, ready to carry the baby on over to Allison, Laenor, busts in, and I was like, oh yeah, I like Laenor. I'm still Team Laenor. If there's anybody I'm rooting for, fucking Laenor. I just want him to be okay.
Yeah, dude's chill. He's got some problems, I guess. That'll come up a little later on. But like
similar problems to most of the people in this show.
This oneer here, the second they walk out the room until they get all the way up those stairs, like it was kind of like. Kind of nuts how long this shot lasted for.
And it's brilliant acting because they are going back and forth the whole time. And it's fucking wonderful. But yeah, he's real joyful about the kid. A boy, I hear. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what the fuck are we? He's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Allison wants to see. Okay, that bitch. I love that Laenor's like fully on Rhaenyra's side. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck her for that, Was it terribly painful?
Yeah, I mean, he even said like, I took a blade to the shoulder once, and Rhaenyra was then like, oh,
I'm so terribly sorry for you.
Sorry, like I just went through my third childbirth, and they all are the most painful experience that any human can withstand. Sorry, you took a little something to the shoulder.
That was funny. I loved it though because like obviously it's the wrong thing to say, but at least he was trying to like, hey, I've experienced pain too, and like immediately after she goes, oh, I feel so bad for you. He's like, oh, I do not, and I'm so glad I am not a woman.
He's saying he's trying his hardest to have some sort of comfort in the conversation, but in doing so, he's just
fumbling the bag over and over and over. It's just hilarious. But I do like Laenor a lot. I love Laenor and Rhaenyra. This is already one of my favorite connections in the show. Obviously not very romantic, if romantic at all. But yeah,
business.
the
Business come.
appetites
Yeah.
the appetites have not changed, as we did not expect them to. But their unfolding of their storyline over the course of this episode is like really good. Like the fact that we take a 10-year jump. You know, there's only one thing from this 10-year jump I feel robbed of. And we'll get there. But everything else feels natural to have skipped 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of nuts. And
Yeah.
I'll get to the thing I feel robbed of in a little bit. But yeah, so they make their way up the stairs, and she's still having she just gave birth.
Yeah, she should
She
not
is
be walking.
sore.
She's
leaving a trail of blood through the palace. Man, shit ain't looking great. And he's like, okay, this is absurd. Let's go ahead and turn around. She's like, okay, yeah, if you want to carry me the fuck down these stairs, Laner. And he's like, I wish not. Let's go ahead.
All right, let's go.
He's like, I will not be doing that. Okay. They march on, running into Sir Kristen, the incel, at his post outside the Queen's quarters, and he
Cannot believe I rode for this dude. I can
dude.
this. I've learned my lesson. Never get invested into a character too early, because holy fuck, has he flipped the script? Like
this man is he's the dude online who's like, you're a tease. You didn't give me anything, you know, like
he was so good. He was doing good. Pure. He was, you know, at the time when I liked him, he was good. But man, just he gets broken up with once, and that's it.
Beat the man to death.
Yeah, I can't. It was nice. He got a little taste of his own medicine this episode, which was nice to see.
I loved it. But we'll get there. But yeah, they make their way inside this room, and Alicent. The way they zoom in on Alicent here, it was kind of like the reintroduction to all the characters. It was like, yeah, this is Alicent. She looks different. Yeah, she's like, oh, Rhaenyra, you should be resting after your labors. And Rhaenyra's like, oh, yeah. I'm sure you'd love that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd love that, you bitch.
Yeah, you knew I'm not just gonna give my baby to you. Like, she knew that she was not gonna leave her baby, and that she was gonna walk her up there herself. Like, obviously. She's so conniving. Like, so... I mean... They're doing a great job for her character, though. Like
I'm still gonna enjoy watching this character. You know, like I already love this. Like I love every scene with Alicent. It doesn't change the fact that I'm the reason I love every scene with Alicent is that I'm actively like seething watching her. You know, like that's such a powerful performance that you can put forth, and like Olivia Cook came in with a fucking bang. It was damn good, but. Yeah, very, very old Viserys enters. Ooh. And he's like, oh, I hear I have another grandson. Yeah!
He's just like, a happy old man.
Dude,
you know, like
this is a dude who thinks he probably should have died 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think whenever he had the conversation with
Larys?
Thank you.
Lionel.
With the hand. Whenever he had that conversation, I think like he legitimately thought like I could go any day. And ever since then, it's just kind of like, wow, I woke up again. Okay, I'm still
New
king.
lease on life, sort of thing. Yeah, like that's the tones I get from him too. Like it seems like he's just kind of like, man, we don't need any of this beef, man. Can't we all just get along? Make love, not war, bruh. Like as kind of, he's just trying his best to keep the peace and keep them happy together because he knows what happens when he dies.
Yeah, the second that he's gone.
Yeah, it's not looking great. I do love that here Alicent asks, you know, have you named him yet? And Rhaenyra's like, we haven't discussed. And Lander goes, Joffrey. Like, yep, I'm owed that. I'm gonna go ahead and name this child Joffrey. None of these kids are mine biologically, so I'm gonna go ahead and take one thing. It's gonna be the
Rough.
name of this child.
Yeah, poor. I'm assuming like this is their third, so I like it. Just I'm assuming like I don't like he's had no say in really anything for these 10 years is what
No.
it like. And I don't know if it's like all just Rhaenyra not giving him any chance, but like it seems that he's kind of been away and kind of doing his own thing
What kind of
as
distant? You
well.
know, like
Yeah.
he's in a tough position.
Yeah.
Like
I think
raising somebody else's kids in a relationship that you do not want to be in. You're gonna fuck around. You're gonna get hammered. You're gonna like if you have the resources, you're gonna do anything you can to escape the life you're living. I
yeah.
think
The first one, he's probably like, dang, this sucks, like I know this is not my kid. And then the second one, like the line of like having one is an accident, having three is an insult. Like Laenor, like holy, like he must feel, I don't know. I feel really bad. Like
well,
he's
that's the
doing his
thing though, is
best.
that like I don't think he really has beef with the fact that they're not his kids, you know? I think it's just the fact that now he is their dad.
Mm,
You know, like it's kind of like it's a complicated thing. Like I don't think he wanted kids with Rhaenyra. I think he's perfectly okay that he hasn't actually had kids with Rhaenyra. I think it's the fact that now he has to raise the other people's kids, and it's like, I mean, that'll get to anybody, you know. Like it's not like it's not like it's a shitty shit dude thing, and he does a great job later on when Jacaerys and Lucerys are like, Dad, can we hold him? Dad.
mm,
It's really cute, you know. They're calling Laner dad and stuff. Like he's clearly been there as their father and stuff, and like I really respect it. Like he's done he's not he's not the stepfather. He's the father that stepped up. You know.
mm.
Uh,
Oh, dang. I've never
yeah.
heard that before.
You've
That's
never heard that before?
No, that's
Oh,
the first time I've ever heard that.
there's a meme of a man kneeling down between two children, and it's the back of his shirt that says, "I am not the stepfather. I'm the father that stepped up,"
Oh,
and it's very funny.
I'm
Um,
definitely gonna need like a family tree because there are
yeah.
so many new kids. Like the only kid that I know the name of for sure is Aegon right now. Like that's the only one that I am kind of instantly I know the name of. Rhaenyra's kids, I couldn't tell you. Only Joffrey. Like that's the only like the one that's sticking just because
Well,
introduced baby
her
Joffrey.
oldest, I think her oldest is Jacaerys, named after the former king, the king that passed power to Viserys.
Okay, that'll be
Jacaerys.
easy. Just Cyrus,
Um,
firstborn.
the other middle child was referred to as Luke, and his name is Lucerys,
Let's see.
Lucerys. Um,
Cyrus
and
and
I thought
Lucy.
that was interesting because Luke and Jace are the name of Lucius Fox's kids in DC canon, which is interesting. I don't like Luke and Jace, and they are both referred to as Luke and Jace. So I immediately took note of that. My little comic book
Oh,
brain was like, that's fucking crazy. Um, but yeah, I really I do I love all the kids so far. At least Rhaenyra's. Um,
hmm.
but yeah, I just because I can tell some of the ones on Allison's side are gonna go fucking bad, and it's gonna be bad.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
gonna
nah,
they're gonna be bad.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
This is gonna like the family war that they are sparking here is,
generations
mm, and
like
it's
it's
not even the kids' fault too. Like they're just
mm-mm,
being dragged into it. Like
exactly
they had no beef with each other. Like they're just kids being kids.
right.
Like it's not like they actually have beef with each other. I mean,
Yeah, no, like when Aegon pushes Luke, it's because he's his little fucking cousin or like
yeah,
nephew, I guess.
but they're just dragged into this and
Yeah, I
just
guess I guess her kids, I guess Rhaenyra's kids would call Aegon uncle and Aemond uncle and Helena aunt.
oh, wait a minute. Oh, that is weird.
right?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, wait. So I think I got Rhaenyra's kids down now. But as far as Viserys and Alicent's children,
Viserys and Alicent have
there you go.
Aegon, their oldest son, Helena, their daughter, and Aemond,
Aemond.
which is the same
Aemond.
as Damon, but with the D at the end. Aemond.
Aemond
Uh,
and Helena. Aemond and Helena. Okay. Okay.
yeah, and
Think I got it down
I'm
now.
I'm certain Helena is going to end up marrying Aegon.
Ah.
I have no doubts about that.
I was wondering what they were going to do with her character. She was very, very short. Like,
hey, we'll
yeah.
get there. I think she's got something mystical going on.
Yeah. Some.
Um,
True.
she was. We'll get there, but yeah. So Laenor hands Joffrey over to King Viserys, and he takes him and he goes, "I do believe that he has his father's nose." And everyone looks at each other like, "Yeah, this man's in denial hard, huh?"
Yeah. Brown hair, white, pale skin. Ah, he has father's nose though. Yeah,
Yeah.
nature has a weird
Well,
way
then
of
they
doing
show the
things.
kid, and like Allison like looks at the kid, and they show us a very specific angle that's like he really does not have Laenor's nose either. Like it's
No, yeah, no.
uh like
King
it's not
Viserys
even
is
close.
he's just trying to be happy, you know. He just wants
He
to
is,
die a
and
happy
I
man.
really like I. This was a great Viserys episode. You know, I really did love Viserys in this week. You know, and I love the way that uh Alicent takes the baby from Viserys and walks over across the room with Laenor, and then Rhaenyra and Viserys have a chance to talk for a second, and he's like, "How was the labor? I hope it was easy." And she's like, "I think I called a midwife a cunt." And they both just kind of laugh, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek and stuff. And I'm like, I love to see the love there. You know, like we just don't get a lot of nice little quaint moments ever. And
Yeah.
this is a nice little quaint moment within a overall kind of devastating and chaotic episode. So I did really enjoy it, but Alicent over there with Laenor going, "Do keep trying, Sir Laenor. Sooner or later, you might get one that looks like you." I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
eesh.
okay."
Yeah. And I mean, it was nice to very early on know that everyone already knows that they're not Laenor's
Yeah,
kids. Like there was no question about it. It was like people have eyes, very obvious, and like I'm glad it was just off rip, and it's not like this thing that was dragged out and like oh now by the third one they're like oh yeah now they're definitely not his kids. It was um but man, yeah, that was a dagger in the heart. That line, like it
that was
was.
brutal. Yeah,
Mm,
and you could tell it hurt him too. Like he was like, "Man, like you think I want this too? Like what the fuck you coming to me for? Shit." Um,
mm.
felt
Poor
felt
dude.
icky on Allison's part.
Yeah.
She's definitely getting worse and worse.
Mm.
But yeah, trailing blood down the hallway. Rhaenyra is like, "All right, so you're just gonna name my fucking kid, huh?" And he's like, "That's our fucking kid, you know? That's our kid. I haven't got a say in any of the other shit." And she's like, "Oh, it doesn't seem like you've wanted a fucking say. You've been off
Mm.
doing and so like there's definitely like there's a strife here,
Mm.
um, and one that felt
Naturally so, though.
feels
Yeah.
inevitable. They an arranged marriage where uh neither of them have interest in taking the other to bed.
Hmm.
That feels like feels potent for some strife. Um, but yeah, they go back to their chambers where they visit their two sons, little Jacaerys, little Lucerys, and there's one lad giving her some very very loving looks. That's Sir Harwin Breakbone Strong, and I was like, as soon as she walked in and he gave her that smile, I went, "Yeah!"
Yeah. Yeah.
I went,
It was
"Oh my
nice.
god, I
At
love."
least, you know, after the fall of Kristen, I'm like, all right, who's my new boy?
him.
And it's him. And I'm like, yes, I have a new
you
guy.
Oh, I have a new
Dang.
guy.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. This is the one thing I said. If there's one thing I feel robbed of for the 10-year jump, it's the development between Harwin and Rhaenyra.
Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that the 10-year jump kind of robbed us of. And like it's not a bad thing, you know, like I don't think it's like an actual criticism of the show necessarily. It's just something I would have preferred to see, not necessarily something I needed to see. I don't think. I'm just like I wanted more Harwin. You know, like I have like a tiny crush on Harwin. So like I wanted to see him on screen a little bit more. But man, and the development of this relationship, they've been kind of laying the groundwork throughout the season. You know, when she got back to the festival for Aegon's name day, the hunt and stuff, and she was covered in blood, Harwin was like, "Oh, what's up?" You know, like he was all smiles. He was like the only one.
Saves her from the Green Wedding too. You know,
Saved her
goes
from the
through just
Green Wedding.
oh wow.
Yeah.
I feel like from that moment, Rhaenyra had to be like,
Oh yeah. What's
okay,
up? How you
like
doing?
my girlfriend, she like while this was happening, she's like, man, Rhaenyra gets around, huh? Like, and I'm like, well, yeah, I guess. And I at this time, I'm like, I think she just has an obsession with doing what she is not supposed to do. Like, she will always go on the opposition because she wants control.
Certainly part
like,
of it.
yeah, she wants control over her own life, and she doesn't like to be told what to do. But you know, it's not that she's getting around. I think she just wanted to have kids with someone that she actually had feelings for.
Exactly. Like that was her entire thing.
Yeah.
Like throughout the first, like she's like, fine, I'll marry the fact that she has 2 kids for my money with Harwin. I think the first one she didn't take the potion and it's Kristen's.
Okay.
I think Jacaerys is Kristen's baby.
Huh. That adds an interesting little wrench into it. Yeah, we don't really know who the first.
Like they imply that it's Harwin's, you know, but there's an evident silence when like, and obviously she's not going to be like, yes, Harwin's your dad, you know, like. But I think that furthermore, it was like, oh, no, actually, you and your brothers have different dads, you know, like I think that was kind of.
Yeah, I guess would it really make sense for trying to think of like if Sir Harwin would have gotten with Rhaenyra that early on for that, you know, because like she had to have been pregnant or gotten pregnant by Harwin very early or very soon after the Green Wedding, like to have Jacaerys.
Yeah.
So I guess
that's the thing. I guess we don't actually hear how old Jacaerys is.
Jacaerys.
I take him to be about 10. You know, like I think he is. I think he is about filling that gap there. So that's kind of my thing. Is that like, I do think Jacaerys is Kristen Cole's kid, and I think the other 2 are Harwin's.
Do you think that pulls Kristen back onto Rhaenyra's side eventually?
Ooh,
like, do you think that ever? Like, I was trying to think of why that would be important or why that would be an aspect of the show. Because right now Kristen is very against Rhaenyra. Very against.
Incel.
And I'm thinking maybe he learns. Oh wait, that's my blood. That's my kid.
Flesh of my flesh.
I don't know. I didn't think about that.
No,
I just thought they were all Harwins until now.
Well, and I think it's of note that Luke has very curly hair, and Jacaerys does not. Like there's a few things that lead me down this road, and I do think that I think she did have 2 kids with Harwin, and I'd be willing to bet Harwin. The thing that's kind of like ooh is whether or not Harwin thinks he's Jacaerys' dad. And like, here's the thing. What I would love and what I want is, yes, honestly, all 3 of these kids are Harwins. You know, I would love that. That's ideal situation. I just don't think that's the situation we have at hand.
I think he went thinking they were all of his kids, though. Like,
I
I
think
don't
so
think
too.
Rhaenyra would. She wouldn't tell him that.
Right.
Wow. I didn't even think of that possibility, because like I was very on the camp of she did not drink that like tea. I would like she did not drink that tea. If she was pregnant, she's pregnant still. Is what I was thinking, but I didn't even follow up on that. I didn't even like think of the implication of it.
Well, yeah, like once Alicent said, "Do keep trying. Maybe one of these days you'll get one that looks like you." I immediately went, "Oh, so this is not their first kid." You know, like they don't necessarily tell us that they've had kids until they show us the
That's
2
true.
other kids.
That's true.
So it's just kind of like and one of them looks like he's about 9 or 10. So like it's just kind of the gut feeling there. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and dub a few of my favorites of the episode. Favorite character, Harwin Breakbones. I love this guy, and since it is his last, presumably, I guess we don't necessarily watch it happen, but it seems heavily implied that this man is dead. Devastating
peace,
shit.
Man.
Rest in peace to a real one, Harwin Breakbone Strong. But and then my favorite scene is just this whole sequence where Laenor and Rhaenyra walk into the room. Harwin's there, and it's kind of like this co-parenting situation where Laenor is well aware who the father of his kids are, and whenever she's like Harwin's like "May I, my lady? Like, can I hold the kid? Can I hold my kid?" And she looks at Laenor and is like, Harwin wishes to hold the baby, and Laenor like looks at him and was like, "Of course, yes, you definitely can." I was like, "Oh."
I think he had a little bit of hesitation, but he's like, you know what? Like he's accepted it. You know, it's that was their deal. That was their whole deal. You know, that's what they signed up for at the very beginning.
And it's not like he's jealous. You know, like that's the other thing, is that he's just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, as far as his life's going, he seems like he's been having kind of a fun, like, he's just been doing whatever the fuck he wants. You know?
Right.
So, I mean, dude's just trying to live it up as much as he can, and I like that he's not immediately hostile or jealous
or anything
of
like that.
Harwin. Yeah, it's I think Laenor, or not Laenor, Laenor? Fuck,
Yeah, Laenor.
maybe Laenor. Yeah, Laenor. I gave him my favorite character last episode, but man, I don't know.
He might be back-to-back weeks, man. Like that's my thing. Is if it wasn't Harwin for me, it was gonna be Laenor, or Rhaenyra. I liked Rhaenyra a lot this episode too, but I think it's for me. It's
Emma Darcy
performance. Yeah, I think I'd have to go Emma Darcy as well. Emma Darcy as Rhaenyra was just jaw-droppingly good. Like it was insane. But yeah, favorite character this week was no doubt Harwin, and I'm definitely going to give it to Harwin because we don't have any more time.
No!
Makes me very sad. But yeah, the back half of this episode was just like fuck. Like I just kept getting more and more upset. But yeah, so when Laenor and when Jacaerys and Lucerys ask, "Hey, can we hold him? Laenor's like, no, let's leave these 2 alone. You guys got to get down to the dragon pit. Come on." And they leave the newborn behind with Harwin and Rhaenyra, and Harwin being like, "Oh, asleep in front of the Lord Commander of the City Watch. The disrespect." And Rhaenyra being like, "Oh, insolence does run in the family." This line becomes quite layered later on, considering that Harwin's brother commits quite the act of insolence later on in this episode.
Whoa. Like we knew he was a Littlefinger-esque, but he's really taking it to the next level here.
That's some sicko shit right there. Like that's
yeah. This dude, we got to watch out for this guy.
He's dangerous.
Yeah, man, I really wish my father was here. Okay, let me do it. And
let me kill him.
Wow.
Well, and like that's one thing why I'm like Alicent. Like, while yes, I think in her like personal feelings, it's kind of like, God, I wish they would just die so that this would just go away. Like I don't think she would ever actually take the steps to make that happen. Like Larys was definitely feeding into her like subconscious mind. He was a loose cannon though, like her reaction is genuine, she's like, I didn't ask for that. Like that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, she was freaking out.
And he's like, okay, sure. Yeah, okay. You didn't want that. You're gonna owe me
when the time comes.
Yeah, you owe me. But so Rhaenyra and Laena's sons go on down to training in the Dragon Pit. With Viserys and Alicent's kids. So we got Aegon and Aemond and Jacaerys and Lucerys all down in the Dragon Pit, and Aemond is the only one without a dragon. And this episode was important. We did learn more about the dragon egg thing,
and
it made Daenerys all the more impressive.
Yeah,
considering half of all eggs never hatch.
Yeah, that's pretty. I think. Did Aemon have an egg? Like he had an egg, it just hasn't hatched yet.
Yeah, he had that's the thing is that if he's a son of a Targaryen, you
have an egg. Okay.
Yeah.
Because later on, whenever Rhaenyra offered an egg later on, I thought that was like, I was getting confused. I thought that was like her way of being like, I'll give Aemon a dragon. Or is that what she's trying to do? But just a different
she's trying to give him another chance to.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the thing with that scene is that she is desperate. Like Alicent's not wrong whenever they leave and Viserys is like, oh, she's sincere. And she's like, yeah, she might be, but she's desperate. That was like, I think that was an on the spot addition. She was like, let's marry our kids. Let's join our houses. Helena and Jacaerys can marry and they'll rule together. And, Alicent goes, Rhaenyra. And then she's like, and then if Syrax has another batch of eggs, Aemon can have his pick of them. He could have another chance at having a dragon, I think it was kind of like yeah, and yeah, sure. But yeah, so nevertheless, they're all training with the dragons. Jacaerys is having a fun time getting his Vermax to spit fire at a sheep and get him to go munchy mode. But after the training, they all give Aemon shit about being the only one without a dragon, specifically Aegon. Aegon definitely leads the team here. And he's like, we found a dragon for you. And I like that Aemon's like, you found a dragon. Okay. All right. And
so happy
how'd y'all do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can tell he's definitely like a kid, so he's like, he's being hesitant. He's being like, I don't believe you. But what if you're being for real right now? Like what if you did give me a dragon? Like what then? So like the disappointment whenever the pig comes up and they're all like, the pink dread. I was like, this poor little fucking kid. He's going to grow up to murder people.
Yep. Immediately my thought as well is like, well, all you're doing is making an enemy that I'm assuming someone has to take who's the biggest dragon?
Vhagar.
Vhagar, thank you. I'm assuming he's the one who steals Vhagar. somehow. Like, he steals a dragon. He is pissed off to the point he's like, fuck it. I don't care. Like, I'm a Targaryen. I'm going to take my blood. I'm going to take what is owed to me. And I've been made fun of all these. Like, it is stirring the pot for him.
Mm.
He's going to go off eventually.
Yeah, I have the feeling you're right.
And I mean, you get him kind of walking down into the pit, you know, and seeing all the dragons. And I think that's kind of their way of just showing that, like, he's very afraid and very kind of, he's always been in the background sort of thing. But, like,
right.
I don't think he'll stop at anything to try to get a dragon and I guess not redeem himself, but show his brother and everyone else that, like, he's not anyone to be messed around with. I think like he will. But it'll be, I don't know. Maybe not Vagar necessarily, but a dragon.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you. Like, he's gonna at some point. It feels inevitable. But yeah, after everyone leaves, he goes ahead and creeps on down into the tunnels where the dragons live, and he almost gets flamed. He doesn't, you know. I think this was a dragon being like, "Get the fuck out of here, man. This ain't for you right now. Get on now. Get on." And yeah, so when Alicent finds out about this, you know, she wants she wants Viserys to do something about Rhaenyra's kids. You know, that whole what the fuck? Come on now, you know what the fuck going on. You know the saying what it is. But before that scene, whenever Aemond goes up to Alicent and Helena, and Helena's like studying a little centipede or some fucking terrifying creature that I want no business with. And I did like the way that they portrayed Alicent in this scene, being like, man, you're boring. I couldn't give less of a shit about what you're doing here. But yeah, what makes you think that? Yeah. What? So, like, it's still like she's not like absent, and she's not like dismissive of her kid or anything, but she's still like, you can tell she's like, oh my fucking god, you fucking dork, you know, like
something is, I don't know what it is about Helena. Did I say that?
Helena, yeah.
Helena. I don't know what it is. Like, she is a little weird, and maybe she's just pent up in a castle, you know, all day. Maybe it's sort of like oh my god, what's his name? In Game of Thrones, he eventually killed his daughter, burn her at the stake. Sort of like
Stannis.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Stannis. Sort of like Stannis' daughter, who kind of is just like reading books all the time, just kind of, you know, like in a not really doing much, kind of a little socially weird, I guess. But like, she's studying that bug, and like, the last ring has no legs at all, and like just saying like weird little things that sort of, it feels like they're alluding to something or trying to make a metaphor, and it hasn't clicked yet for me.
There's one that already clicked for me. Because of the promo for the show and everything, whenever Alicent goes, and one day you will get a dragon, Helena says something that makes no sense regarding the bug. He'll have to lose an eye.
Yeah.
The promotion of the show shows Aemond with an eye patch when he's older. So,
she, like, is there, who's the rave, is there a no.
I don't think she'll be like a three-eyed raven or nothing.
No,
but I think
that's what I was trying to think. How does she know? Like, why would she say that right there?
It doesn't make sense, because right before that she was talking about how, oh, the last thing doesn't have any legs, and then like, what do you mean this bug has to lose an eye? No, that doesn't make any sense regarding that fucking bug. You're talking about your brother right now, and you're not even like that. That was one where she was not talking about the bug. Like, her mom went, "You'll have a dragon one day," and without looking up, she goes, "He'll have to lose an eye." You know, like that's
Is it that she can know the future somehow, or is it just the writers putting in a line? Like, are we looking too deep
Sure,
into
it's
it, or is there something like actually going on with her?
I don't know, like I'd be willing to bet there's it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if there was something going on there, but I'm not gonna like bet on it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, she's got some sort of ability to see the future.
Mm.
Because I don't know. That feels a little weird and contrived. Like I don't think we'll be able to really go into that. But I do think it's like an ominous little foreshadowing bit. But after this, Alicent heads on over to Viserys and is like, Rhaenyra's damn kids, they did this shit. What the fuck? And he's like,
Yeah.
Viserys is like, are you sure Aegon didn't? You sure Aegon didn't do this shit? Like, come on now. You know our son. And she's like, no. It's a wonder their eggs even hatched. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean by that? And she's like, oh, you know what I mean.
Mm.
I've brought up this issue before, and every time you tell me to put it the fuck away, but I can't. Having one kid like that, sure, whatever. 3 is a goddamn insult to the match you made, to everything that we stand for everything. And this is just the work of some hardcore denial on the part of Viserys here. This is just not the way genetics works, my guy. Nature is a thing of mysterious works, he says.
I had a horse once.
Yeah.
And it was silver as
it was black. It was black as a raven. He hooked up with a silver mare, and what the fuck happened? Chestnut brown. Yeah, like
Alicent
my
immediately comes in and is like, "Did you see them fuck? Did you see who fucked? Like you didn't see it."
And also, you're basically comparing hair color, which is much less indicative.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I don't know. There's zero possibility that they're Laenor's kids, right? Like there is absolutely zero. Okay.
These kids are not Laenor's. I think they've made it clear that if the kids have, if they have Valyrian blood, they end up growing the white dreadlock type hair.
Yeah,
at the very least,
especially when mixed with a Targaryen as well, like it will be white.
There should be no doubt that their hair is white.
Like even Alicent and Viserys, like Aegon has white hair.
Yeah.
They red. Like I guess Alicent's hair is red. What is Otto? I don't know. I guess like it's not really. Targaryens are just known for their white hair. I guess maybe the High Towers aren't red necessarily, but man, I don't know. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die thinking that way.
No, frankly, what Harwin says to his dad later, whenever his dad's like, and the king is turning a blind eye, and I simply like, I for some reason, and Harwin's like, I wish my dad would share a similar fucking thought. Like, Jesus Christ, Dad, put this the fuck down. This is really dangerous. Your goddamn honor's getting in the way.
We immediately hated
Lionel. He
but
became a pretty real one, man. He's he's got an honor. He's got honor, man. I respect this dude, the reason I didn't like him is because the very first scene with him in it, whenever they're like, the line of succession, it should go to Rhaenyra, and Lionel goes, what the fuck? That's a woman. That was the only thing that ever led us down the road where we went, Lionel.
Dude, there was no
very cool character.
Yeah, no cruel plot, anything. He was just what a hand should be. He was comfortable with his position. He wasn't hungry for power. Like Otto, I guess he was the second in power in the realm. So it's not like he didn't have any power, but he didn't lust for the throne. At least it didn't seem that way.
Right. No, yeah, he didn't at all. He did exactly what a hand should do. He served non-biasedly. He presented the king with the facts, and whenever his honor was compromised, whenever his bias was compromised, he went, "I got to retire, man. This is something I can't be doing anymore." Like the complete opposite of what Otto did. Otto was working his hardest to get the kids on the throne. Like that's So I do fuck with Lionel. He's a real one, but nevertheless, Viserys is like, don't speak of this shit again. All right, we're done with the whole. Oh, is it their kids? No, fuck it. Sorry, I don't give a shit. They're her kids. That's all that matters. And she walks out of the room to vent to Sir Criston, and Sir Criston being like, "You're right, my queen. Yes, he is willfully blind. Yes, it seems like you are the only one with your head screwed on straight." And she's like, "The goddamn Princess Rhaenyra." And he's like, "Yeah, the Princess Rhaenyra is a brazen and relentless spider who stings and sucks her prey dry. A spoiled cunt." And even Alicent, like, paused and went like, "Dude, like, come on now, bruh. You a fucking incel. I know you fucked her. Like, I know you had sex with her. Like, you didn't always feel like this, you little pussy boy. Like...
Like, I think Alicent is kind of like, you're right. Like, I think that way of Rhaenyra too. But
you
like,
don't get to say it.
You don't have any right, yeah.
Yeah, like, you don't get to say that shit. And I was like, I can't believe they went full incel for Criston. Like, he's fully blown. Like, that, like, even before he went a spoiled cunt, the bitterness when he was like, the Princess Rhaenyra is a brazen and relentless spider who stings and sucks her prey dry. Like, no, she had sex with you once. Get the fuck over it, pussy. Like, you guys had sex once. You guys had sex once, and you proposed to marry her and take her away from her inheritance.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Criston.
I can't believe, man. I've learned my lesson. And I guess I really didn't, because I was ride or die for Harwin now. And I just can't get attached to people.
At least he wasn't a dick. Like, true. It's better it's better to die a hero than to see yourself become the villain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Man.
I love it. But
damn. But yeah,
Criston, fucking
bottom
Criston.
Of the totem pole. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's bottom tier. He is bottom tier, bro. But they make their way. Alicent makes their way down onto, apparently, to Aegon's room, where Aegon is going full Homelander, and the boys just beating his dick over King's Landing. And I mean, this window's seen a lot.
It has seen so much. Yeah, this is so much happens at this window.
I mean, there's a king who literally kills himself in this window.
Mm-hmm.
Here in about 200 years.
Wow. Yeah. I love how Alicent just kind of walks in and it's like she's walked in on this before. Almost, she just didn't even like pay any mind to it. It's just kind of like talking to him as if he wasn't just jacking off, like standing up there,
Yeah.
Just goes to show that, like, he's gonna be a dick. He's just gonna be an absolute...
He's a psycho. Well, there's only one other character we've watched do something like this, and he's literally the biggest psychopath in the history of media, Homelander. Like...
Aegon's gonna
be bad, bro.
Well,
it's gonna be bad.
I don't know.
I do.
Because every time you think someone's good, they're not. But every time you think someone's an absolute cock at the beginning, like Larys or the Hand,
Lionel.
Too many L's, man. Lionel. Yeah, like Lionel thought he was an absolute cock. This is his first episode, or Aegon's. So
right. Yeah, I just don't have a lot of faith.
But yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith in Aegon, the guy who's beating his dick over out of a window in King's Landing. Feel like that's gonna be a problem. And Alicent comes in and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry." Falls into his bed, covers up, and she warns him, be nicer to your fucking brother. And how about you don't like use your fucking cousin so much? One day, you are their rival, you are the threat, you might die because of the shit they're doing. Okay,
like
so
grabbing like
his
his
face,
face, like very like doing the same thing Otto did to her, like
yeah,
striking the fear into him, um, of the true reality of what's going on, and there was a noticeable change in Aegon after this. He's kind of like, I think he's like, this is the first time where he kind of realized who he is, and he's not just a kid doing kid things
yeah,
anymore. He's
like
kind of like,
you. According to what everyone thinks besides Rhaenyra, you should be the king.
yeah, just by living, just
I
by
think this
you
conversation,
breathing.
I think this conversation has the same impact on Aegon that the one that Otto had with Alicent as he was leaving the city had. Like, this is
It
what you need to do.
it basically, she just dropped all the family drama, just dragged them into the family drama, and was like, I mean, it was
Because later
bound
when
to
they're
happen.
training,
Yeah.
and he just like shoves the kid over, it's like, damn, man, that's the little one too. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Um, but yeah, Aegon seems like he's going to be a goddamn problem. But elsewhere, in Pentos, first trip across the narrow sea over in Essos, Daemon and Lena now played by Nana Blondell, uh, showing off their dragons by riding them for a crowd. How about the fact that Daemon can fly right through dragonfire?
I was just about to bring that up. Because Daenerys literally being like the birth of her dragons in fire, like she had zero, she's immune to fire, like
Yeah,
Daenerys was. And I was wondering if like Targaryens are truly immune to fire. And this, like, yes, he flew through a fireball. A
I
normal person would die through
it's
that, even though they're
dragonfire.
flying fast. Like, in like he just
Yeah,
was through, like
it's
he was,
dragon fire. That's
yeah.
gonna kill you. Like, even fucking Lena and Vhagar, they pull off. They don't go through the fire that Vhagar is.
So there
You know?
is something with Targaryens,
Yeah,
and
which is really interesting.
but Viserys made it seem that it was all a front, that it was all, like back when he was telling Rhaenyra about the dream, about everything. He's like, it's just to get, just so that we can get to this point to have a Targaryen on the throne to defeat the threat that's coming from the north. It's all a front, but like there is some link with Targaryens and dragons, like something. But why
Some sort of
wouldn't?
blood magic.
I mean, I get, yeah.
That's the other thing, though, is that like I wasn't sure if like a Targaryen is able to like fly through dragonfire the way that we're able to like throw our finger through a fucking candle flame. You
That's
know
what
what
I
I'm
was.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, but I
It's
don't think
dragon fire.
they don't show that. They don't do. They did that for a reason, not just to,
Exactly.
like, they didn't do it and then show the people watching it, like, to be like, oh wow, that was cool. They showed it happening and then just continued on. Like, it
Right.
would have been one thing for them to be like, to cut back to the castle and have everyone be like, whoa, cool air show.
Right. Right.
But like, it was to show that he
Can do that.
survives through fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was amazed at that. So it'll be interesting to see how that might come around.
Maybe you have to be like, is it just any amount of Targaryen blood that
Or do you
allows you to
have to
do
be
that?
born of a fucking Targaryen and Targaryen relationship?
Because
I had the same thought. Well, and I think it's also, I didn't even put this together until just now. I think they show that Daemon can survive Dragonfire because later on in the episode, Lena very much so does not.
rough, yeah, yeah. Because I was wondering, why wouldn't, like, their house be able to? Like they all come from Valyria, and like I guess it would make sense if they had some ties to dragons too, but um yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the tie. I guess where did dragons, come from? Was it like
I think it was Valyria.
well, like not location wise. Like I mean, like did the Sisters of the Night, is that what they were called? What were the people who like created the Night King and create like like those,
the Children of the Forest.
yeah, like was it something like that they created dragons
Yeah,
and like
maybe.
or
Shit.
like the first Targaryen, like I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of how they could have a tie to dragons or where this magic comes into play. Like,
Well, there is the fact that like Pentos is over in Essos, and it's said that the blood magic that was done to link Targaryens and dragons was done across the Narrow Sea somewhere. So I mean, like, there's some chance that, like, I don't know, maybe in the last 10 years, Daemon has gone ahead and performed some blood magic ritual that ties him to the dragon in such a deep way that he's immune to fire. I don't think that's the case, but like, I like as good as any guess. You know what I'm saying?
but man, seeing Vagar here though,
Vagar, a big boy or big
and
girl.
yeah, that's and it's nice to have like the confirmation of like the biggest in the world, later on, just to know like, okay, this is what a big
Well,
boy will. Well, not the biggest, just the biggest currently,
yeah.
right?
She
So
drove. That's what's cool about Vagar too. Later, we get a good look at Vagar. That's an old bitch. She was the dragon Visenya, the sister wife to Aegon the Conqueror. Vagar was with Balerion. Like they rode over, and
wow,
Vagar was a part of conquering Westeros for the Targaryens.
damn.
So like this is an old dragon,
Yeah, it had like the like sort of looked like hair, but not like the like tree sort of like
yeah.
I don't know what it was, but like and the holes in the wings, like you could tell like this is
It's an old.
they've been
dragon.
around for a while.
Yeah, so like just at least since the Conqueror came over to Westeros, this dragon's been around, aided in the conquering of Westeros. But Daemon and Lane are at a dinner with the Prince of Pentos, who makes them an offer. She's like, "Oh, you want to marry one of our daughters?" And their daughter is like, "No, what the fuck?" And he's like, No, don't worry. That's not the type of shit we do over here in Essos. Yeah, I just wanted to move you down. I just wanted to move you in. You'd get paid a lot by the taxes from everybody around. You can help us with the dragons if the war with the Triarchy arises again. They've allied with Dorne, so that seems like it's going to be a problem. Dorne has always been like, we like to be by ourselves, so we're going to go ahead and fight. But yeah, I liked this whole scene, the reintroduction of Lena and seeing them just plainly together.
And I think this guy, whoever the leader is at like this castle, the guy who's like making the toast, I think it wasn't just him trying to sweet talk. I mean, it's him just trying to sweet talk Daemon into making the deal and like make it go his way. But I think as for the show, the reason they put it in here is like what they touch on later about Daemon longing for home and him being like, nah, like no, not at all. But like this toast was like the ultimate like, this is my home, this is my heritage, like, and he stood up and he's like, yes, he's like I think this was to show that he like is truly longing for home. Like he, even though he says he's not, like he doesn't want to stay
later
here.
on in the episode, whenever he's like, he literally, it's like the next scene when Lena's like, "I can't believe you're even fucking considering that shit," and he's like, "Well, don't you like it here? Like, aren't you glad to be void of all the politicking and all of that shit over in King's Landing, over in Westeros?" And it's like, you just made an arrangement for like a war. Like you just like that's exactly what you were just doing over here. So clearly you're not completely devoid of that. And it's
That is true. I guess it's yeah, because he makes this deal and he is signing up for, and like even though he's gaining an ally, he is also gaining enemies too. Like this is a war that is going to start. I didn't think about that. I guess I was just thinking like this is where he settles down and just stops being Damon, you know. And but
right.
I don't think he can stop. This dude's not going to stop till the day he dies.
Nah, he's Daemon Targaryen, bro. And I think it's very clear that he's not only like, whenever Lane is like, hey man, I miss my brother, and I think you miss yours too. I think he misses a little bit more than his brother. I think he misses Rhaenyra because she's like, word is Rhaenyra had another child, and he like his head like snaps to her like, oh shit, does it happen to bear a very strong resemblance to the commander of the City Watch? So like, it's rumored across the narrow sea.
It's
bro.
known.
Like it's not a secret, you know. It's a strong rumor.
It's amazing how Damon can be so loving, but also so much of a dick at the same
so
time.
Cold.
Like he like feels, like the stomach, like her stomach, and kind of pulls her in close, but then at the same time is just like, all right, now I'm gonna go back to my reading. Like just stare. Like after she's like, do you want to? Or I forgot what she said to him. Something like she was waiting for a response or something, and then Damon just kind of looked at her like, "Are you gonna leave? Like I'm done here. Like my answer. Let me go back to my reading. Like,
do you not long for home?" But yeah, like I'm probably just gonna knock out all their scenes now because there's not much more that happens with the storyline other than we see like Lena speak with her daughter for a little bit, which was really, really cute, and it was just kind of the explanation about how, her dragon egg hasn't hatched yet. Lena says it wasn't until she was 15 that she had a dragon. It's also really cool that she rides Vhagar now, because I don't know if you remember our introductory scene to Lena whenever she's talking to Viserys, but she's like, and it said that Vhagar is somewhere out in the world, like his dragon
cool.
in Westeros, I thought that was a really cool little and as soon as she was like explaining the history of it, I remembered that and I was like, oh shit, that's right. She was talking about how she loved dragons and stuff, and she didn't get one until she was older, and now she rides the biggest alive. So like it was
another
very nice
moment in the show where it's actually a nice, loving like a mother and a daughter, just the mother being like, it's okay. Like, I know you don't have exactly what you want. You don't have a dragon, but that's not what matters. Like, it's okay. Like, and it was so sad. She's like, are they gonna, do I have a spot here? I don't have a dragon. Like, am I gonna be allowed to stay here?
Very clear that they want that.
Like,
yeah. Like,
oh man. Like, yeah.
Shit was heartbreaking, man. But, yeah, I thought it was interesting that they kind of also explain that the daughter, because they have two daughters already, the daughter that he's teaching by Valyrian, I expect she probably does have a dragon. And whenever her daughter's, whenever she's like, he ignores me, he doesn't, like, it's like, oof, fucking A. Yeah, I think there might be something there too. Like like Damon, he's just such a interesting character, because this was far and away this episode reflects the nicest on Damon compared to everything, because and I'm just gonna jump to the horrible shit now. Lena going into labor and things going terribly for her. And it's the same problem Emma faced. The baby's in breach. It's not going to come. It's either we cut the baby out and she dies, and we can't even guarantee the life of the baby. And he asks, like, will the mother survive? He goes, no. And he goes, nope, don't do it.
Was it a nope? Oh, okay. Like the thing that confuses, like, I felt like it was kind of left up in the air. I don't think he would have made the decision to actually go through with it.
Gotcha.
Like I don't, I think I'm in the camp that he would have saved his wife, not the baby. But how was she let to walk out on her own? Like, she is still, the baby's still there, right? Like, and
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
still in. How, like, I guess it would only make sense if he says no, leave. Okay, so I guess he did tell them no, because if he, I just it kind of felt like it jumped to her just walking out, and like I'm like, wait a minute, like what, like how is Damon not with her? How is like maester doctor whatever
No,
whatever
yeah, like
like
I think uh I think she overheard this conversation this dude was having with Damon and
and
went,
she's like
I'm
no.
not gonna give him the chance. Like I'm
Ah.
just like this isn't gonna happen one way or the other. There's one way for this pain to stop.
Is it an option to kill the baby to save the wife? Is that ever an option? Or, because they don't really bring it up. It really is only like saving the baby. And is that just the medieval mindset of like, we don't care about the woman, like we're gonna
I
kill
don't
her?
think so. I don't know how in the world you could possibly like I'm not a doctor or anything, so like I have zero clue. I don't think they have a way to save the wife and just go ahead and remove the baby. Like I
Mm,
think that's the very essence of the problem is that they
okay,
cannot get the baby out.
okay,
You
and
know, so like
that makes more sense now. Like that, because I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like that's still an option, but it's just not in their minds at all because of the medieval mindset that they have.
yeah. No,
Um,
well, and I think the medieval thing is important. I don't think they have the means to. Like, I think
yeah,
that
they
obviously
literally cannot.
now we would have the means and
Yeah,
stuff, but I don't think that I don't think they have the means at all to make something like that happen. And yeah, this was the hardest scene to watch as she stumbles on out before Vagar and begs Vagar, Dracarys, and Vagar being like, "Man, nah,
like it almost looked like Vagar was gonna cry. Like,
yeah,
how the fuck do they make a dragon? Like, it like there was a connection between them, and Vagar was like, I do not want to do this. Like it's a dragon, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, holy shit, this dragon doesn't want to kill, their rider, but like sees how much pain that she's in, and like
yeah."
knows that like this is actually the best. Like it in the mind of the dragon, I'm like, how the didn't have to. It's a dragon. It didn't say anything, obviously, but like
Now
it
the way
looks
it
like
like
yeah.
looks back and forth like, ah man, I really don't want. Like I think Vagar even like sighs at one point. Like it's like
Ugh.
Jesus. But yeah, whenever the dragon finally does as ordered, Lena is burnt to a crisp, and Damon finds her as this happens, and he looks distraught. You know, he doesn't look. I wouldn't say he looks devastated, but I wouldn't say he certainly isn't like
He's not
overjoyed.
unaffected. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
like
not unaffected.
whenever
He
last episode, whenever uh the dudes at the Vale, the Royces, were like, "You did this, you killed Rhea," and he was like, "Oh, I was positively bereft." You know, like I believe that he's positively bereft. You know, like he seems like he is like that was not something he wanted to happen. Like he seems very like Lena doesn't deserve that sort of thing. Like whenever like earlier whenever she's like the doctor's like, "Hey man, this is going hard. This is not gonna end up good." And he goes, "My brave girl." You know, like he's I think that's
I feel like they just
sincere.
had a missed opportunity here for for her to die in Daemon's arms, and they both get burned, but Daemon comes out unscathed. Like the reason I don't think they did it is because Daemon isn't like that. I don't think he
I don't
loved
think you
her
can, like,
to that point. Maybe.
no, yeah, I think this was another move that elevated his station a little bit. You know, it gave him opportunities that he didn't otherwise have. He has Valyrian babies. You know, I think that's something he really wanted. Nothing but daughters. So I think he's still like, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out a way to go ahead and have another kid somewhere. But
pure blood.
Yeah. So yeah, this shit was tough though, man. This shit did make me cry. It made Emily cry. You know, this has been a show so far that Emily's been kind of like she's enjoyed watching it, but she's been deeply disturbed week to week.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally have an episode that actually like reached her on an emotional level that was like, it wasn't just it just felt like it had a lot more meaning, you know, it felt a lot more resonant.
It wasn't a grotesque or incest filled or anything that's like that gets a normal person to eek. It was an act like anyone watching the
thing that
show
did it was the dragon for her. Like it was like oh wow. No, like it was the dragon being like, oh no, like I don't want to do this, bro. Like that shit hurt. It was really fucking sad, man. But that does happen quite a bit down the road in the episode, but they don't have a lot of scenes. It's like only 3 or 4 scenes that Daemon and Lena are involved in, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way. But that part is cut together with the hardest parts to watch of the episode. Like they hammer it into you at the end of this episode that shit is not going well. But
that brings us back to the courtyard. The training. Okay, so there we are.
Now we're to training. So back in King's Landing, Viserys and Lionel are watching the king's grandsons. Well, I mean, both of their grandsons, I guess, train in the yard with Sir Criston, and it's funny watching all of it. You know, Aegon's very clearly. He's been trained for a while. He's well adept. Aemond is hopeless out there. He's just a turd out there.
Yeah,
he's got one hand up and he's tossing the sword forward. Yeah, like he's not looking great out there. He doesn't look very strong. But that's one of the things that leads me to believe this dude's going to end up being like a uber badass. But so
he's going to have an arc to him. He's going to have a rise to power.
It's going to be interesting. But so Criston's training of Aegon and Aemond is a little bit more hands-on than his of Jacaerys and Lucerys. He's a bit more involved in their training. He just kind of lets the other two go about their business. And Harwin pulls up, notices such things, and is like, yeah, what the fuck? I also want to point out that whenever Criston's like, we'll see if you can touch me. Let's do this shit. I am certain Criston Cole meets his demise at the hands of Aegon.
Oh.
I think Aegon will kill Criston. I think that's
touch you now, huh? He's gonna have like a last line,
well, because he looks pressed at Criston at one point. Like it's kind of like he's just kind of like, you little fucking man. You know, I think it's just out of a superiority complex, you know? Like I do think he truly believes like you're a lowborn fucking knight. You don't get to tell me what to do, you know? So fuck off. How about that? But it's going to be satisfying for all sorts of reasons. But yeah, Harwin notices that Aegon and Aemond are getting trained a little bit more hands-on, and he's like, so what the fuck? What's up, Criston? Seems like you should be spreading out your teachings a little bit. Come on now. And Criston's like, all right, let's do this then. And he grabs Jace by like the fucking armor and pulls him out. and the way they flash up to Viserys every once in a while, being like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Like, I don't like that. And it reminded me a lot of, like, I played football a lot when I was younger, and this was a way that people who coached football got kids' attention. They grab your shoulder pads and they pull you in. And frankly, it's jarring, it's shitty, and never felt good. So it's like, I know for a fact, Jace was like, man, what the fuck? You know, like, it's like, I don't like this. It's the fucking man
over
sort of
two
thing.
little kids. Kristen has to like get. That's how he gets off. You know, he's like sticking it to Rhaenyra is like like that's in the back of his mind.
What's shitty? You know what I think he's doing is mistreating his own son.
Oh, fuck! I didn't put that together. Oh yeah.
Like,
He's gonna realize.
I'm
Maybe that's
certain.
his moment. Maybe that's his moment of like his redemption, and maybe right before he dies, he does one last act for his son. Something to realize, like,
That's
damn,
why Aegon kills him. I'm just certain Aegon kills him. But
I like that though.
yeah,
I like any death of Kristen Cole.
Yeah,
as long as it's brutal.
It's an ideal state of affairs if Kristen Cole dies.
Think he goes the same way, getting his head bashed in over and over and over?
I would love that. I would love that. But yeah, Kristen has Aegon and Rhaenyra's oldest son, Jace, go toe-to-toe. And Harwin's like, hey, man, that's hardly fucking fair. And Kristen's like, oh, I know you've never touched a battlefield, Harwin. But the last thing anyone should expect out there is fairness. And all of a sudden, he's all like prissy and like an uber fuckboy. Like, this dude's never been like this, and now all of a sudden he's like I don't know. I hate him. I just hate him.
He could have said that in a like. It makes sense. Like out in the battlefield, it's not going to be fair. But like he said it in a way.
I know you've never done such a thing.
Yeah, he's just how they know how to write a character to make you hate them. Like
it's really well done. I do like that Aegon beats Jace down a little bit for a second, knocks him over, but Jace gets up, comes out swinging, and like I loved looking at the people watching. You know, Harwin being like, yeah, you know, like yes, fuck yeah, you know, getting up, yeah, like you got that, you got this shit. And this is why I like wish and hope Jace is actually Harwin's. Like I like the protectiveness and the fatherly instinct he has over him. So like I'd much prefer Jace being Harwin's son, but still, ultimately, Jace does get beat down again after they separate. You know, they both get pulled in. Kristen's like, they're both instructing them one-on-one. They're heading to their corners. Their instructors are putting the water in their mouth, cleaning up the cuts, you know? And I love that Kristen's like in his face, like, you little fucking pussy, you better go beat his ass down. And then they cut to Harwin and Jason. Jace is like, he's like laughing, and Harwin's like, you got this, buddy. You're good. I love you, man. Like, I loved that shit. You know, they were just building like the difference between the way these kids are being raised. You know, Aegon being much more subjected to you've got to do this. You're only good. You're only worthwhile if you're a fucking behemoth of a monster, you know? And Harwin's going to Jace like, hey, man, you're the underdog. You're doing good. I love you, buddy. Good job out there. Keep trying your best. And Jace is like, awesome, cool. Let's get this shit going again. And they start fighting. Kristen keeps shouting instructions. Use your feet. Aegon kicks him down. Don't let him get up. And he keeps hammering away, and then Harwin goes ahead and steps in, goes, hey, man, what the fuck? He, like, stops Aegon. Aegon goes, unhand me, sir. Don't you know who I am? My dad's a lawyer. And Kristen's like, you forget yourself, Sir Harwin. That is the prince. And he's like, oh, is this what you do? Is this what you do? You beat the littler guy down over and over? I think that's some bullshit. And Kristen's like, it's interesting. It's interesting the way you care about Jacaerys' training. You know, it feels only the way that, you know, one might look after a cousin or a brother or a son. And
Boom!
I
My
love
favorite
this
scene
shit.
right here.
Yeah,
I already
yeah,
put
I
it
love
down.
this shit.
Seeing
Harwin
Kristen.
beating the
Yeah.
shit out of Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just it not just because Kristen's getting the shit beat out of him, but like Harwin's character, like defending his kids, even though like he knows him doing this is gonna fuck like he knows he shouldn't do this, but like it's his kids and like he doesn't want I don't know. It's a very no
Well,
matter
here's
what he
my
does,
fucking
it's
thing, man. Kristen beat a nobleman to death last week.
he has Allison on her side though.
Sure.
Like
Harwin
the
got
queen.
Rhaenyra. I
But
guess
how
he's trying to keep it
legitimate
low.
is Rhaenyra right now in the eyes of everyone? She's
Well, in the
having
eyes.
kids.
Well, here's the thing: the fucking king can do whatever he wants. It's absurd that he keeps going. Oh yeah, sure, Allison. You know, like he's been all like for 5 episodes. He's been like, you don't get what you want. I get what I want. I'm the king. I'm gonna do it anyway. So sorry, dude. And then Allison all of a sudden is like, you can't do that over my dead body. And he's like, okay,
I think
sorry.
that's the 10 years. Like he's getting weaker and weaker physically, and he is a weak king now too. He like
Right.
Allison has taken control.
Yeah.
She is controlling everything now. And I mean, I did like, seeing Kristen get his face beat in here. But at the same time, I'm also like, fuck. Like you sealed your fate here. Like
Yeah,
this.
you basically confirmed everyone's suspicions. Jacaerys and Lucerys watch this happen. You know, they hear the accusation Kristen hurls at them. They see the way Harwin reacts. They see, like, whenever Harwin gets pulled away and he goes, say it again. Like, say it again. Do it. And, like, that's Jacaerys for sure is like, oh, I know who my dad is. Like right there and then. Like,
And man, it might not even. His dad could be the one on the floor.
yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Fuck.
And that's what matters though, is that Harwin's been there like he is his dad, Like that's the thing, is that Jacaerys and Lucerys have been raised faithfully by Rhaenyra, by Laenor, by Harwin. Like clearly Harwin's been like he's been the protector of the family since Kristen's kind of gone over to Alicent. So he's kind of fulfilled that role. He's been there to watch over the kids when everyone's gone. They show that at the beginning of the episode. He's there with Jacaerys and Lucerys when no one's around. Like he's helping and raising these kids, which was very cool. But yeah, this shit sucked. This shit hurt because you knew this kind of sealed his fate. But yeah, so after this, Rhaenyra is informed of an incident in the yard, and she goes to find Harwin to talk to him, and she walks in on a reaming Lionel digging into Harwin about how he's putting
through her secret passage too. And I think this shows how easy, like, this is why Daemon could spy in on the council meetings and how like this is happening. Like they know these secret passageways, and like I don't like at first we were like, how the fuck could that happen? But now it's like
they're behind the scenes. It's not just random access. It's secret entrances. That seemingly Daemon is privy to, and granted Rhaenyra access to, and Rhaenyra probably since then has gone like, "Hey, Harwin, meet me in the walls." But yeah, Lionel's yelling at Harwin about putting the family in danger, a shadow clouding the house, and Rhaenyra overhearing everything. I loved the shots here, like the pillars, Harwin standing between one over here and just like distantly Lionel in between another, and just like this was some great acting by Ryan Coor. He's the guy that plays Harwin. He is in pain.
Yeah.
Like emotionally distraught, the tears in his eyes whenever he's like, oh, I wish my dad would have the same blind eye, like He's like, what the fuck? Like, again, another scenario of, you think I like this? You know, like, you think that this is something I prefer?
Mm.
You know, like, I obviously, there are other ways that seem much more above board code like. I'm good. You know, like, we're good. And, it really did suck, you know, very real threat of, you know, and I like the way Lionel goes about it. He's like, it's not just our house you put in danger. It is Rhaenyra. It is your kids. You know, like, they could all be exiled or killed if people find out. You know, like, and I do really appreciate that too, because Lionel's not just looking out for his house. He is now looking out for what he knows are his grandkids.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Duh. I was wondering why he was like. Obviously he's going to be against it because he's the hand and it's his family, and you know it's natural for him to feel that way. But obviously, even more if it's like, oh, they're my blood too. Like,
Yeah.
ah, man, yeah. It was hard to watch that that scene. And do you think Rhaenyra was actually going to go up and talk to them? Like, was that her
I think
goal
he
to
was going to
actually
go.
go to talk to him? But then she heard what was being said, and she's like, okay,
I think she was going to go talk to Harwin, and then Lionel was there.
okay.
So it was kind of like nobody knows, you know, nobody's watched them do it, you know, but it's like, okay, yeah, like, it feels
I mean,
pretty evident.
Lionel even says, like, the people have eyes. Like,
Yeah,
he's saying it is so
these kids
obvious.
look like you,
Yeah.
like that, like, it's simple. And like the way later on, Allison's like her plain featured sons.
Eesh. Yeah.
I was like, man, Harwin's way fucking finer than any of the shit y'all
Yeah.
got going on. Like, Harwin's cute as fuck. This man's sexy. I don't know what y'all talking about, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, Rhaenyra is, you know, gathering her thoughts on all this, as well as dealing with quite the sore chest due to nursing when Laenor and his homie Carl with a Q bursts in. They're drunk, singing loud, and Rhaenyra asks the friend to like give them some privacy, and Laenor is like, this man says there's war afoot in the Stepstones, man. I'm so ready. I'm so ready to go down there, to be at sea again. You know, and I do love this, like, because his dad is Corlys Velaryon, the largest fleet in the country. He's considered the sea snake. Their home is the sea, you know, like it's in his blood. He wants to be at sea. And she's like, hey man, shut the fuck up. We got shit to do. You are not leaving. This is us. We gotta, this shit is happening. And he's like, hey man, I don't know.
What
She's
was the
like,
line?
the
One,
wise
the
sailor,
storm line. Yeah.
yeah, the wise sailor flees as the storm gathers, is what he says. And she's like, she says he's sorely mistaken if he thinks that their son's true father is going to abandon them to go carousing through the narrow sea, waggling his sword and winking at his sailors. There was a line she had that I was kind of like, ooh, felt a little homophobic. Where she goes, you've been in King's Landing, guzzling all the wine, and gods know what else.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, eek.
I guess she does say later on, like, I've let you do
Yeah, like,
whatever with any guy that you wanted, but
yeah, and obviously, I don't think it actually was like. I think it was more like I know, I know you
I know
out,
what you're
I know
doing.
you out here.
Yeah.
I know you out here. But yeah, he counters that he's played his part faithfully for 10 years. I think I'm owed something. She goes, no. You're not owed shit. You've done exactly what we knew we would. Okay? You've gotten to do everything you've wanted. Everything's exactly what we expected. You're not owed anything extra. Okay? You do not desert your post when the storm lashes. And he goes, The wise sailor flees as the storm gathers. And she's like, fine then, I command thee.
Yeah, it's really not what they promised each other, though. They promised each other that they would do their duty to the realm and have kids themselves.
That's true.
That was their promise. Not that she would have kids with someone else. Laenor is right here. And I mean, yes, their part of the deal was also that they could sleep with whoever. And that's not going to matter, but the deal was to do their duty to the realm, and that's not just to get married. It was to produce heirs as well with themselves. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a gray area-ish, but Rhaenyra is not.
Well, I question if they've even I seriously doubt
if they've ever fucked at all.
Yeah, if they've ever consummated the marriage, and I can't say that's 100% on Rhaenyra,
That's I mean, no way on their wedding night that it happened. Usually it on the wedding night they take,
there's no way they went home and were like, all right, well, I guess we should fuck now. Yeah. Nah, they were distraught. I'd be willing to bet they've never had sex. It just makes sense for them to have not had sex, but
yeah. Man, it's I feel bad for Laenor, but at the same time, Rhaenyra is sort of right a little bit. She is you have been experiencing the spoils.
The thing, is that there's no black and white here. One of them is not right. One of them is not wrong. It's just a complicated situation they're in. They've got to come to some sort of understanding about how they need to be a little bit more there for each other, But after this, they head on over to a small council meeting where Rhaenyra, Alicent, a Lannister, a new Maester. We got a very, very new small council. And they're discussing the issues of the Stepstones. Viserys is like, will we ever be rid of this fucking place? They've got one of their fucking small council members can't fucking hear, so he thinks they're still on an issue when they're not. They're far past it, and it's like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on here. But at the end, Rhaenyra stands to speak and says to the queen, I have felt the strife between our families, and for any offense given by mine, I apologize. But we are one house, and long before that, we were friends. She then proposes that Jace and Helena are married, and that it would be a good idea for the realm. She also proposes the idea of the dragons for Aemond. And but then the princess's breasts start visibly leaking through her dress, and that's what sucks. Is the misogyny of the time just instantly dismissed her? It was like, oh well, she can't be valid. She started leaking. The way Alicent was like, Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Okay, you bitch.
Sorry that I just gave birth. And
Jesus
sorry?
Christ. That shit made me eek. I was like, fuck you, Rhaenyra. She's giving just major Karen, Republican, middle-aged woman vibes. It's just so hard. So hard to like her. I don't like her anymore, and it sucks because I did like her for several episodes. But this was just all undone very quickly. But yeah, so as they leave, Alicent says, how sweetly the fox speaks when it's being cornered by the hounds. And Viserys is like, come on, man, stop this shit, bro. The whole time he's sitting in the small council meeting, he's like, yes, fucking grand. I love this idea, Rhaenyra. Thank you so much.
Judicial proposition, whatever he says. Yeah,
what a judicious proposition, Rhaenyra. You're finally becoming the woman I wanted. Alicent, please consider this. And
the thing, yes, it is out of desperation that Rhaenyra is making this request, but if Alicent was truly worried about her kids, this could end the beef right here and now.
Everything would have been just fine. And that's the thing, is that this is what makes it clear she's not just worried about the lives of her kids. Nope. She wants Aegon on the throne now.
Yep. Which, it goes back to, we thought Otto was very conniving and sneaky, but he's really just more of a realist, and he's like, the realm won't accept Rhaenyra. There will be war. He's just trying to avoid war.
Alicent is actively starting the war.
Yeah, and it's different. Like I don't see it as the same. And Otto, it's not completely, that way. Otto is definitely, he wants his blood on the throne too. Like he has that lust too. So it's not like Otto's a saint here and just trying to prevent war. But
the Hightowers are a lustful family. They want power. It's very clear. And she tells Viserys, okay, sure, you can do what you want, husband. When I'm fucking dead, and you're very clearly going to die before me. I don't know if you've noticed. But their conversation is interrupted when the hand of the king, Lionel Strong, appears in the chamber as she's giving him a blanket, fluffing his pillow and stuff. And
love this detail. Like, while in front of other people, while other people are watching, she will do anything to make the king look weak and needing help and like whatever.
But walks in, the hand of the king is here. She answers. He's resting, and he's like, "Fuck no, I'm not. I'll see him. Come on in." Jesus Christ.
They've made it seem that Alicent has been the one kind of controlling things for these 10 years, and that like she's been the one really doing things. But is this like Viserys' first time of being like, yo, like, I don't know. Is this the first time he's like, no? I
take it that this is a pretty. I'd be willing to bet they've done this dance for a while, where Alicent is controlling things. Viserys makes a stand every once in a while, like, I will have this, and it's like one little tiny fucking thing, and then like it just keeps going, But Lionel shows up. He's like, I need to resign my post, given what happened in the yard with my son Harwin. And Viserys is like, hey man, he was ousted from the city watch. Ain't that enough? And he's like, forgive me, but no, it's not. There's a shadow over my house. It grows ever darker. I can no longer serve you with integrity. And Alicent's like, why is that? In plain language, please tell him. And he goes, I really can't. I cannot do that. And Viserys is like, well, then I can't fucking accept this, dude. You're gonna keep me in hand. Sorry and shit, but goddamn, I really loved this scene, and Strong won't put a fine point to it. Alicent's pissed, and therefore Viserys will not accept his resignation. But Alicent goes ahead and takes a nice little emotional lap around the castle, like, whew, I'm fucking livid right now, baby. This shit riding high right here. And she's like, all right, time for dinner. Let me go sit down with Larys. And, he's like, usually I'm the one informing you on the castle's happenings, but you're the one who knows, and I'm the one who doesn't. What happened with the meeting with my dad and the king? And, well, he attempted to make his resignation. Attempted, interesting word choice. Yeah, he didn't accept it. So I take it he didn't tell him about my brother's transgressions. Yeah, I love. He's like, it's a willful blindness. I'm sure you'd have the same shit if. And she's like, I fucking wouldn't. And he's like, okay, sure, all right. And I loved their interactions too, because Larys seems like he's like, this is the best place for him to be currently. He's not partial to her though. Like, if there is a better opportunity that presents itself, he will snake. And he will snake hard.
It's very, like, who else? He can't really team up with anyone more powerful. Like, he can't be on Viserys' side. He's not going to plot with Viserys, like the queen. Like, he's not here out of the kindness of his own heart and out of the kindness of for Alicent. Like, it's
because like she even recognizes it as such, whenever she's like, God, it's times like this I wish my dad were still here to be hand of the king. And Larys is like, hey man, I don't think you can honestly say Otto would be any better, and he wouldn't be impartial. And she's like, no, but he would be partial to me. He would give me the things I wanted. And he was like, okay.
There's it in plain language there of her
she's like,
showing her side, like she is very self-interested. Like,
Yeah, she's
at
like, I
that,
don't care about fairness, bro. I'm here for my family. That's what I'm here for. Um, and him being like, hey man, all right, okay, I'll do something about it then. He heads on down to a dungeon full of men sentenced to death. He's like, I'll give you mercy, man. You'll be free to go. You just got to do something for me. I'm gonna cut out your tongues, and you're gonna burn men alive. Sound good? And they're voluntarily having their tongues cut out. He leans over, he sticks his tongue out. He is very excited.
death or life without a tongue. Yeah, I mean, in that case, like, they were all sentenced to hang. Like, whatever. What I don't like, obviously, he doesn't want them to talk about what they're doing. That's why he's cutting out their tongue. Like, he doesn't want them to speak and reveal the secrets. Right. But I never understood. It's like, I guess no. Maybe at the time they don't know how to read or write. I didn't think about that. I'm like, why don't one of them can snitch by writing? They could still. It's not, like, talking is not the only way. But I guess if they were low life scum criminals, maybe they just legitimately don't. Yeah.
That's very true. I didn't even consider that, but
yeah, man, what they did not shy away from showing the tongue being. I mean, it was
they showed that plain as day.
Yeah, that was
like,
nuts.
Oh, okay,
but,
wow,
yeah, that happened.
Yeah, but they all get their tongues cut out, and on a morning soon after, Harwin says goodbye to Rhaenyra and the children after Lionel's proposition to take him back to Harrenhal. And I went, oh fuck, wait a minute. When Lionel went, our seat at Harrenhal, and I went, oh fuck, Harrenhal. What happened to Harrenhal? Oh god. And yeah, Harwin's bidding them farewell to Rhaenyra and the children. He's saying goodbye to all of them very, very lovingly. The princess barely holds it together as he kisses the newborn's head, Joffrey's head, and when he says, "Oh, when we meet again, I'll be a stranger." He wants to be in this kid's life so bad. He's like, I hate that this is happening, and it just hurts so fucking bad. And when he leaves, the kids are distraught. She tells them, we'll exchange letters by Raven. It'll be fun. And Jace runs out to follow him, watches him walk away, and asks his mom plainly, "Is Harwin Strong my father?" And she's like, you're Targaryens, and that's all that matters. And it's like, whew.
Yeah. But, I mean, is it because Rhaenyra doesn't? I mean, I guess Rhaenyra would know if it's Kristen's or not. She would be the one to know. Well, unless she got with Harwin quickly. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I would really like a confirmation on how old Jacaerys is. Because if he's 9, I'm fairly certain that's Kristen Cole's baby. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but if it would be kind of weird for Harwin to get with Rhaenyra at that age. Like, whatever, like, there was no. I mean, yeah, he saved her from the Green Wedding and all, but like, there was no connection unless she was just looking for someone to fuck. Like it could have been. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like after the whole Kristen thing, she went out looking for a new boy toy, and he was like, "I'll gladly be your whore. Come on now, let's do this shit." I love that shit. But after this, Rhaenyra heads on out to the yard where Laenor is training with Carl, and he's like, "Yep, we're leaving." She's like, "We're leaving. We're going to Dragonstone. We cannot stay any longer. I know what's coming. The storm is gathering. You're right. We need to flee. Let's go ahead and get the fuck out of here." And I loved it though, the way she was like, "And bring him,"
the separation, the first line of "you can bring him," being like, "I know it's your partner, bring him," and then like she said something after,
"We need every sword we can muster."
Exactly. Like she really means like, bring him for you, and like that first line was like a loving, not loving, but like, I care for you, and
accepting.
I know,
Yeah, like I'm very, very supportive of what you got going on here. I want you to be happy. Please bring him if that's what will make you happy. And then like a little bit of a double entendre with the we'll need every sword we can muster. But yeah, the family eventually leaves, and they're observed by the 3 prisoners and Laris, all wearing cloaks and bee brooches that match Laris's.
Is it I think it's a firefly.
Oh, I think you're right.
And for one, I thought it was a bee first, just 100%, because I'm like, okay, a bee, like they follow the queen, and like the queen bee, like sort of thing, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But then like I don't know, the source material says that it's a firefly, which
Gotcha.
I don't really understand. I mean, he like the thing I saw on Twitter, someone
The
made a connection
pollinating thing.
between the flower, saying that Alicent was a flower that wasn't supposed to be able to bloom in King's Landing, but he's holding a flower at the same time, and then I guess fireflies also pollinate, but I don't know. It is interesting that they do have kind of a symbol to them.
Right. But yeah, these dudes burn down Harrenhal. Harrenhal becomes the mess we know it as in Game of Thrones here. Harwin Strong dies. Lionel Strong dies, presumably.
Is it? I don't know about Lionel. Like, because Harwin's room was on fire. He was like narrowly escaping death. But like, was Lionel trapped in his room as well, or was he just trying to break?
I think he was trapped.
Harwin out.
I think this man might have died of smoke inhalation. Might have died of I think they're dead though.
Their room, like Harwin and Lionel's room, were like right next to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
What was interesting to me is like, how is this the only way out?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if Lionel isn't dead and he's alive, he's not coming back to King's Landing. I don't think. They need someone at Harrenhal, which was going to be Harwin, to sit there and rule. But I mean, I'm like 70% sure he's dead, but they didn't show it necessarily. They showed all the dead and burnt bodies afterwards. I don't know. I don't know why I have the feeling that Lionel's still alive.
Well, he might be. I can't fathom why it would matter.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what he would be able to do, but yeah, this shit was hard. I hated it. Harwin, we had to say goodbye to Harwin, and it was Laris who did it. Alicent's horrified to find this out. But he's very fine, he's like, I feel certain you will reward me when the time is right. But one of my favorite scenes in this episode was when Rhaenyra and the family pull up to Dragonstone, and we cut to Viserys, who is sobbing, kissing his wedding ring to Emma.
Yeah.
His family's gone. He has nobody. He is with Alicent now, and that's all. Which he's gonna die a lonely man with no family around him.
I think he's in denial of so many things, but he is smart enough to know that Alicent is probably gonna try to get rid of him. Like, he knows that, like, now that Rhaenyra's gone and left and he is alone, whether his health takes him first or someone, he knows that, like, it's happening soon.
He's fucked.
Probably not next episode or the episode. I'm not expecting him to die at all now. So that when it comes, I just, I'm
like, yeah, finally.
But man, yeah, that was everything happening all at once. Like, everyone dying by fire, kind of too.
Yeah.
Like people losing their families, and like showing Daemon and his daughters up at the top of the castle, like them just crying, and then him just like kind of walking away, like, just cutting back and forth between all the different families and showing that, like, I don't know, it's really like about the kids, like the show, like it's obviously the adults and the parents are still going to be very important to the story,
They
but like
caused it, yeah.
it's about the kids, and maybe by like the end of season 1, like the kids are like the new
I
leads.
fully anticipate that.
Like
Like, I think season 2, the people we know as the main characters now will be old people, or they will not make it there and will die. Um, that's kind of what I'm anticipating. But are you ready to throw a rating at this episode?
ooh, oh yeah, this one will be interesting.
This will be
Um,
interesting because it was very good and it did make me cry. Obviously I wouldn't describe it as enjoyable, but it did resonate on a very deep level. It was a great episode of Game of Thrones. Um, Super well done. I will say for a Miguel Sapochnik directed episode, it was weak.
yeah,
He's had better episodes. In a lot of respects. So let's throw an enjoyment rating, a genre rating, and a critical rating at it. Where are you at for enjoyment?
I'm trying to think of like the lowest score we've given enjoyment is an 8 for episode 2. And I don't know if this is my least enjoyable like I came out of every other episode feeling more satisfied for some reason. I wasn't as satisfied this week. Not to say that it was bad, like
That's the
bad.
thing, is that like
Um,
the events that happened are basically nothing but events I didn't want to happen. So
True.
like that's the thing, is it's just
How much of it is just me being like, "Fuck, why did this all happen?"
yeah,
But
exactly. That's where
as
I'm at. Like I
far as
still
the
think
story
because
goes, yeah,
because it did resonate to a point where I did cry. I
true.
cried at Harwin's death, I cried at Lena's death. Um and we don't even really know these characters, they've been relevant for like a couple scenes for a few episodes. So like that's really effectively done,
Hmm.
but it still hurt, it hurt like hell. And so
That's worth
I think I
something.
would go a little bit upwards. I would go a little
Yeah,
bit higher. Um Maybe in that 8.5-9 range.
I think I was around an 8.5.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
And I don't know if that if I'm just in the mindset of, man, these events that happened were really shitty, and that's why I'm kind of like I didn't enjoy it as much. But at the end of the episode, my head was spinning. Like I'm thinking of all the Laris,
Right, right.
things that are gonna happen, all the where these kids are gonna go. Like I don't know, maybe it is like a 9 because like
I'd be
although
cool with that, man. Like
yeah,
because
like
it did leave me going like, whoa, like fuck, and
it's
it was a great fucking episode. Like when we get to this genre category with medieval, Game of Thrones, fantasy, this is a 10 out of 10.
I mean
The
we get
politicking, the conniving, the plotting,
dragon
it
riding.
it was
Having
perfect.
yeah,
It was
like
perfect.
this had everything. The training in the courtyard, the
Yeah,
more birth complications.
the
Yeah, no, this
father drama.
as far as a Game of Thrones episode goes, I don't need anything more as far
Yeah,
as that. So,
yeah. So are we comfortable with a 9 and a 10 enjoyment and genre?
hmm
Critical rating, this is where I start to go a little bit further downhill. I don't think it was it was solid, but I don't think it was as good as something I might expect from Miguel Sapochnik now, because he's put forth some of the greatest episodes of Game of Thrones of all time. And not just, like I just said, this is a great Game of Thrones episode. It's just there's nothing about it that stands out particularly
and
beyond performances, beyond writing. I'd say the writing was a lot better than the directing, and like even the way the last 15 minutes was structured, 20, 25, it made me sad and it hit, but I didn't think it was cut together particularly well. I
mm,
thought it was really abrupt. I thought it was really jarring to go from scene to scene. It was just it was awkwardly cut together, I feel like, at the end. It felt like they wanted to do a lot of things and didn't know how they wanted to branch the things.
mm, yeah, I don't. Every other episode had a very complete story for the episode, and this was just kind of all over the place, getting things set up.
Yeah.
It is like a new premiere. We have all these new actors. We have all like introducing and getting you familiarized with him.
I'd say the most complete story of the episode was the Harwin and Lena stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they introduced the new fathers and mothers of children for Damon and Rhaenyra, and by the end of it, they're gone because of different complications, you know? And
I guess true. Yeah.
It still wasn't like I still, like I said, the thing I feel like I'm lacking is the beginning of the relationship between Rhaenyra and Harwin. I feel like Lena and Damon, it felt inevitable last week. It was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But Harwin and Rhaenyra, it was like, oh shit, okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is the weakest episode critically.
I think so too.
And I think like around a 7, maybe, or like.
I'm cool with a 7.5, you know, because there were still some cool shots. That tracking shot at the beginning, that one, very, very cool. Very exquisitely acted. You know, like, I don't want to like dismiss anything. The acting was fucking incredible. The visual effects, amazing. Soundtrack didn't stand out as much this week as it has in weeks past. It was still solid, but not what I've come to expect from Ramin Djawadi. It was kind of just it had all the bones. It had a lot of great things to it, but there were elements of it that just, I know they could have done better.
This frames it interestingly. If we do give it a 7.5, it ties it overall with episode 4 at an 8.83. If it drops down to a 7, then it's just a little bit below the 4th episode. And I mean, honestly, like, I think it really was only the directing and just it was a little jarring at the ending. Like, it was a little
choppy and just unnatural at points. Like, it didn't feel correctly cut.
Yeah, I think 7 might be too low. Like, as far, because the performances were
fantastic.
Like,
Emma
they were amazing.
Goddamn brilliant. Olivia Cook, fantastic. I mean, like, Ryan Core was a low key winner for this episode for me. Harwin was fantastic. So yeah, I think I end up at a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'm down. It gives it around an 88%. If we're going there. Wow, IMDb gives it an 8.8.
God damn!
And let's check the good old Rotten Tomato meter here. And I'm gonna say this one was, I don't know. I feel like people 80. Oh, that's the overall show.
I don't know that they do episode to episode for Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I guess if it's updated currently as the whole show is given an 84 audience and an 85 on the critical side.
Seems low. Seems low for me. But
I mean,
nevertheless,
wow.
88%, an 8.8 out of 10 for episode 6, The Princess and the Queen. That was a damn good installation. It's a damn good installation into this saga, and I cannot wait for the next 4 weeks. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoRoBloom, where you'll find over 40 hours of exclusive content, including a bunch of book reviews, comic book reviews every week, all that you could be looking for over there, exclusively for $3 a month on patreon.com/CoRoBloom. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Me and Joseph will be back next week for Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast, installment number 7. This Wednesday, we got Andor After Party number 4. This Friday, we're concluding the decade of the aughts with 2009's Avatar. Go catch that in theaters and then listen to our podcast. And hell yeah, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And a wise sailor flees as the storm gathers.